the right road.
Will Roy Moore ride off into the sunset? And was this a vote for Doug Jones or against President Trump? Plus, Vice President Joe Biden is live on The View. He's opening up about the promise he made to his son Beau before his tragic death, how he's handling President Trump's America, and if he'll run against him in 2020. The House of Hot Topics is in session with Whoopi, Sarah Haynes, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and Meghan McCain. Now, let's get things started.
And we want to say a big hello and thank you to the armed services members, veterans, and our first responders who are in our audience today. Woo! Thank you. Yeah.
I know.
I mean, Beau, you look amazing, man.
Yeah.
You look sharp.
You're really not nice.
Yeah.
Beau is
works
our
with us.
cup master.
Yes, he's our cup king. And he's a first responder.
That's awesome.
And he's a first responder. So, and I guess we should just also say, hey, Alabama, thank you. Thank you. Because the people of Alabama have spoken, and it's a win for the Democrats. Doug Jones defeated Roy Moore. Take a look.
I think that I have been waiting all my life, and now I just don't know what the hell to say. We have been at crossroads in the past, and unfortunately, we have usually taken the wrong fork. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, you took the right road.
And the vote is this close, that it's not. The problem with this campaign is we've been painted in an unfavorable and unfaithful light.
Moore was the candidate backed by the White House. So was this a message to the White House? Was it a message to, speaking of messages, was it a message to Bannon? Was it who? What happened last night? What do you think?
I loved your tweet, by the way. Meghan tweets last night, suck it, Bannon.
Suck it,
and I was like,
And
to the point, Meghan.
We have one more Christmas show, and I want to get T-shirts made tonight that just say "Suck it, Bannon" for all of us to wear on TV, because he espouses himself as the kingmaker right now. That he got Trump elected into office.
Sounds like a Game of Thrones reference.
I'm the first person to say, by the way, we've discussed on the show, I didn't see this one coming at all. He won by a very small margin. A win is a win is a win. But I will say that Bannon is now neutered. This shows that he is no longer the kingmaker. That if you choose, and saying the White House backed him, Trump originally backed Luther Strange, who was a much more mainstream Republican candidate. If you go with these populists in this way, who have these obviously, incendiary backgrounds, to put it as nicely as possible, it shows that there actually is a moral compass, and there is a point where voters, even in Alabama, will get to and say no.
We'll say no to the child molester. But I got to tell you, what was it? 97% of black women came out.
98%.
98% of black women.
yet again, black women are saving the country. Yet again.
I mean,
this is the second time.
Yes, it is.
On Twitter, it was hilarious because if you read the hashtag, it was black women coming out of everywhere going, "You're welcome. We saved you all again." And it was like, I was dying. It's significant because we often talk about this unheard population of the rural white voters, and how do you get that vote? And now I think the conversation needs to change. How do you support the black female vote? How do you
get that
support
black girl magic?
How do you support that? And also, what I was shocked at, I was talking to my friend Sally, who is from Alabama. Why did an overwhelming amount of white, educated women vote for Roy Moore?
Can I tell you something? What I think actually happened?
What happened?
What I think happened was they saw the piece that we showed the other day by the gentleman who's video we showed when he was talking to the
pollster.
people.
Yeah.
Okay. Mathis or Mathis?
What's his name?
Are you talking about the pollster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doug?
The
not sure.
pollster.
The pollster that we showed.
Yeah.
Franklin.
Frank Luntz. Oh my God. Frank
Luntz.
Luntz.
Okay.
Yes, sorry.
Right.
I think people watched that. And then the next day, I think they watched Roy Moore's wife and her sort of little performance. And when the husband said, what are you going to say? I'm going to vote for Roy Moore. Those women went in there and said, not.
You think so?
And when it, yes, I think they didn't do it. I think people said they were going to do it. I think a lot of people said we're going to do it. And a lot of people decided they didn't want to do it because that's not how anybody wants to be shown. They don't, in the old days when you'd see, George Wallace talking about his time in Alabama and talking about people, that sound when she says, our lawyer is a Jew, that visual is horrible.
It's uncomfortable.
They didn't want to see that. They didn't want to see themselves that way again.
Well, happy Hanukkah to them.
Yes. Yeah.
Wait, last final thing.
Oh, wait.
Okay. It is time for a very special All I Want for Christmas is View. The gorgeous Sanderling Resort in Duck, North Carolina honors America's brave with their annual Heroes Welcome program, which offers discounted rates and perks for active duty and retired military, first responders, medical personnel, and educators. So in honor of the veterans and first responders right here in our audience today, Sanderling Resort is giving everyone a 3-night trip for 2 at Sanderling Resort, valued at $1,000. View giveaway later in the show.
So there will be one thing that I feel I should take a second to do because you were all so dishonored by someone in the administration, and I just want to give you the opportunity to tell everyone who the newest person to lose a gig is.
Well, Omarosa has retired. And I just want to say that last time when she was on the show, she said to me, I hope you find some joy in your life. Well, today I have found it.
And on that note, we'll be right back.
Coming up, Vice President Joe Biden. This week, Christmas comes early to The View.
It's Christmas! I love Christmas. Don't you love Christmas?
Yeah, Joy, because we're hanging with Star Wars Gwendolyn Christie and Nick Jonas. Plus, we've got a holiday treat that'll make you stand up and sing.
Baby, please come home.
It's a very merry View. This week on ABC.
Democrats and Republicans can agree on one thing. It is impossible not to love former Vice President Joe Biden. We are thrilled that he is here to talk about the current state of politics as well as his emotionally new memoir about his late son, Beau, called Promise Me, Dad, A Year of Hope, Hardship, and Purpose. Please welcome one of the great men on the planet, Vice President Joe Biden.
Proudest thing my son ever did was wear that uniform.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, JB.
How you doing?
I'm all right,
I only
man.
see her on Amtrak.
That's right. Well, coming and going. But now you were a Doug Jones, a big Doug Jones supporter. You made robocalls for, and even went down to Alabama.
You didn't think they'd let a guy like me down in Alabama, did you?
Not these days, but I was glad to see everybody's welcome now.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel better about the nation?
It makes me feel better about the nation. It makes me feel better about Alabama. But I've known Doug for a long time. He used to work with me, help me when I tried to get the nomination. And you know, this was not just about rejecting Trump, which was real, but it's about Doug Jones. I mean, he talked about, notice the first thing he said, Whoopi, is he said, we got to do so. I said, I'm so excited, but we got to take care of child care.
Yeah.
We got to take care of that. So this guy's a
The real deal.
and he campaigned on issues. I mean, it wasn't just going after, matter of fact, he didn't go after. It wasn't just his opponent's record. It was, he went out affirmatively talking about the middle class and what needed to be done. And so I think he's going to be a great senator.
When he said something that resonated with me in his victory speech that I was waiting for after the last election was, any elected official that represents everyone should say, you know, I know some of you didn't vote for me, but I'm on board, and I waited and waited. This guy said right away, even if you were a Roy Moore guy, it's time for us to unite. We need to, and that's got to be comforting for everyone in Alabama.
Hopefully.
Well, I hope so. It should be comforting for everybody in the country. I mean, look, since when did, you know, you lose an election, you win an election, and the other person's your enemy? I mean, this is about, you know, people have choices, and the job is you represent everyone. You represent the people who voted against you as well.
Yeah, should be.
President Trump and Steve Bannon went down and campaigned for Roy Moore. So
Thank
do you
God.
think that it was a vote for Doug Jones, or do you think it was a vote against President Trump?
I think because I spent time going on the street with Doug, I think it had a lot to do with voting for Doug. But I also think it was a repudiation of President Trump's tactics, and I think a lot of folks in Alabama were presumptuous of me to say, but I think a little ashamed of
Embarrassed, for sure.
Embarrassed. So, but I think what I don't want to get lost, because I know Doug so well, is what a first-rate, serious person this guy is. This guy went back and put in jail after 50 years. 50 years, those Ku Klux Klanners who killed those little girls 50 years ago. This guy he's a very serious guy. He was a U.S. attorney. I mean, so he's real, and his dad was a steel worker. He understands how to talk to the middle class. He understands that a lot of them are being left behind. And so I just think I'd rather focus on the positive side of Doug Jones than the ugly side of
That's why we love you.
You just mentioned Donald Trump's tactics, and I want to mention that Senator Gillibrand of New York called for his resignation in the wake of renewed sexual misconduct allegations, and he fired back, claiming that she was once, quote, begging him for campaign contributions, and that she would, quote, would do anything for them. What exactly was he implying?
Look, let's take him, which is hard to do. Let's take him, I'm not being facetious, at his word that he'd say the same thing about men. Maybe that's what I heard him say today.
Yes.
Well, look, the idea that the president is so tone deaf not to understand how that phrase relative to a woman with his record, it's almost doesn't matter. First of all, I think it's disgusting. But even, you know, I heard you talk about this in the show. I watch you guys as much as I can.
Thank you.
No, I do.
Yeah.
Whoopi knows that.
Yes,
I do.
know.
And you talked about, in effect, if I'm not mistaken, in another context, about our children are listening.
Right.
Look, you know, when our leaders use the kinds of language that are used so often today, we not only dumb down the nature of the conversation, but we allow the seamier side of society to act as if it has a legitimate place. And so I just hope there's some movement across the board here and raising the quality and tone of the discussion.
Well, USA Today, it's very interesting. They said about this whole Gillibrand, quote, a president who'd all but call a Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, a whore, is unfit to clean toilets in Obama's presidential library or to shine George W. Bush's shoes. Thoughts? Any on that?
I can say
that's USA Today. I mean,
I've never ever in my whole career ever read an editorial
like that.
Like that.
Right.
But you know, I hope we look.
You're giving it a good college try.
Well, no, I am because I really want to raise the level of the debate here. One of the things, again, I shouldn't be saying this, is probably hurting your reputation, but what you and I talked about, Whoopi, about when you asked me years ago why I wrote the Violence Against Women Act, I said to begin to change the culture. Yeah. One of the things I had written in that legislation was a civil rights cause of action that any woman could go after her harasser or her abuser in civil court without having to have the government weigh in on it. And a conservative court ruled that unconstitutional. Yeah. If we had a vehicle like that today, there's got to be a mechanism. Right. A mechanism for women, and in some cases some men, to be able to have an access to have their case heard. Yes. And have it adjudicated. Yeah. And that's the part I think that's missing now. There's no mechanism. But the exciting part is, and I'm still going around on college campuses doing this It's On Us, getting men involved. You guys have to get involved, man.
Yeah.
No, I mean it. And it's not just intervening. It's not just intervening when there's physical abuse. But it is, we have to make the abusers, and this is all about abuse of power, we have to make them the pariah. We have to make them the bad guy.
That's right.
And it's starting, I think, I hope.
So, you know, we're going to tell you that Joe Biden's sticking around. But you started the sentence by saying, if we had. Well, I said, if we had a president. We'll be right back.
Absolutely no introduction. Joe Biden himself is here. All right. This is the hard part. Bear with me, okay? I couldn't get through your book. I tried. Your son, Beau, had the same cancer that my father was diagnosed with 6 months ago. And I'm sorry.
But there's a lot of hope there.
I think about Beau almost every day. And I was told, sorry, that this doesn't get easier, but that you cultivate the tools to work with this and live with this. I know you and your family have been through tragedy that I couldn't conceive of.
Well,
what would you tell people? It's not about me. It's about everyone with cancer.
No, it is about everyone. But look, one of the things that gave Beau courage, my word, was John. Your dad, you may remember when you were a little kid, your dad took care of my Beau. Your dad, when he was a mill aide, worked with me, became friends with Beau. And Beau talked about your dad's courage, not about illness, but about his courage. And look, there's a lot of things happening. Any of you have somebody who is diagnosed with glioblastoma, which is about as bad as it gets. There's breakthroughs that are occurring now. There's 4 things that are going on, and it can happen tomorrow. Like, for example, at the University of Pennsylvania, where I teach now, there is at the Abramson Center. What they found out is a thing called a CAR T cell. What they do is they take the cells, your T cells, their immune system cells, out of your body, and they reinforce it with an antigen, and that goes in and that finds the cancer cell, because the cancer cells can hide from your immune system. And they had a breakthrough with a new drug dealing with child leukemia, and it's working. There's other things called, they have what they did with Bo is starting to happen now. They're using this CAR T cell, and they're using they inject a virus, and it generates into the cancer.
So there's hope.
And so there is hope. And if anybody can make it, your dad, her dad, is one of my best friends. Her dad goes after me, hammer and tongs. We're like two brothers who were somehow raised by different fathers or something because of our points of view. But I know, and I mean this sincerely, and I've said it all, even when your dad got mad at me and said I should get the hell off the ticket. And remember what I said about your dad? I said, I know, and I mean this sincerely, I know if I picked up the phone tonight and called John McCain and said, John, I'm at 2nd and Vine in Oshkosh, and I need your help, come. He'd get on a plane and come, and I would for him too. And this is the guy. But look, the thing that I found was, and Bo insisted on, your dad's going to insist on, is you've got to maintain hope. There's hope. Hope is, you have to have hope. And so every day Bo would say, and if you, I don't suggest you read the book, but the book, Bo would say, let's make a deal. We are not going to talk about percentages, Dad. Right. We're not. He got us in the room after the diagnosis. When the doctor, who is one of the guys you had your dad talk to,
and he called the second that they found out. They called you and Joe.
And so what happened was, there's a Dr. Young at MD Anderson, one of the great cancer hospitals. Her dad's at a great hospital as well, but he is he's a neuro-oncologist. And so Bo got this devastating diagnosis like your dad. We were in his room. It was after the operation. The tumor was taken out. We were about to go home, and we sat there, and Bo said, no percentages. And he looked at Doc. I said, Dr. Young, what should Bo do now? He said he was going to run for governor. He said, go home and run for governor. Go home and run for governor. So we got to just keep moving like this is going to happen. It's going to happen. That's why I set up this foundation after we did the moonshot. Because I swear, guys, we are going to beat this damn disease. We really are. I'm sorry, I took your seat.
That seat is a blessing. It's been over 2 years since Bo passed. How are you and Jill doing?
Well, it's it just takes a long time. Our prayer was the same one that Megan's going to have and her dad, that the science will outrun the disease. And it's getting closer and closer. But, Bo was my soul. And his brother and he were, you're bad influence on me. His brother Hunter they were joined at the hip. They're a year and a day apart. They did, when Hunt got up and did Bo's eulogy, and my daughter Ashley, I was blown away by the grace they had. And he started off and he said, when the accident occurred, right after I got elected, my wife and daughter were struck by, and my 2 kids, a tractor trailer broadside and killed my wife and killed my daughter. And my 2 boys are really badly injured. And Hunt started off his eulogy for his brother, and he said, we were in the hospital bed. I had a severe skull fracture. Bo had most bones in his body broken in the same room. And he said he'd lean over to me. And here, Bo, this is God's truth. I've witnessed that I was there. Doctors were there. He was almost 4. Hunt was almost 3. And he looked over, he said, Hunt, look at me. Look at me, Hunt. I love you. I love you. Hunt, hold my hand. Hold my hand. That was Bo. Bo was always the guy from the time he was a child, always giving. And I think what some of us miss is that, Whoopi, I got to the point where when they were about 12 and 13, I found myself, my God, for real, looking up to them. Like their character. I mean, they're the ones that helped raise me. So Bo, Bo is missing, but we've all decided to not talk about the loss as much as the inspiration he was to all of us.
Yeah. Right.
And you know, I'm going too long. I apologize.
No, this is in part why we want to talk to you.
But look, there's hope and purpose. You know, Immanuel Kant said there's three parts of happiness: something to do, someone to love, and something to look forward to. And what we're looking forward to is, what would Bo want us doing now if he were here? And I swear to God, that's what we're all trying to do. My wife, my daughter, my son, my grandkids, all 5 of them. And by the way, my grandkids love me better than anybody in the whole world. I just want you to know that, my grandkids. Anyway.
Thank you for your compassion. You're a great hope to me and everyone else in the country right now. Thank you so much. And we'll be right back, and I promise I'll stop crying.
Mr. Vice President, I'm very respectful to you. I feel like calling you Joe, though.
Call me Joe. What
all right.
the hell?
So,
Sarah Palin called me Joe.
Did she really? She could see you from her house when she's home. Both your sons, Hunter and Bo, wanted you to run for the presidency in the last election. And you have said that if Bo hadn't gotten sick, you would have. Do you regret not running?
No, I don't. It was the right thing to do for me and for my family. And look, Bo wanted me to run, and Hunt and Ashley, they all did. And when Bo passed, Hunt called a family meeting and said, look, we Bidens always do better under pressure. Why don't we use this as a way to rally and stick together and fight through this? And so about August, I said, okay, I'll go look at it. I'll look at it. And I went out to go to the mayor of Denver, who's a great friend and a supporter, wanted me to run, and he's still there. And I landed at Buckley Air Force Base, a military base. And I got off the plane. To make a long story not quite so long, there was a whole group of military guys and women at a rope line. I ran over to shake hands, tell them how much I appreciated them. And all of us, and thought I was doing fine. And one guy from the back yelled, Major Bo Biden, sir. Great American, sir. Served them in Iraq, sir. Bronze Star. We'd follow him anywhere, sir. And all of a sudden, I felt like it's like someone hit me with a baseball bat. And first thing I do is jump in the limo and get going. And I realized no one should ever ask for your support as president unless they can give you their whole heart, their whole soul, all their attention. And I knew I couldn't do that. And so I don't regret the decision. I regret the outcome. I did 83. I did 83 major campaign events for Hillary. Anyway, but for 72,000 votes. Anyway.
Okay. Well, I don't want to get ahead of things because we're clearly not going to take that as the final answer. So we'll talk 2020. You said that you weren't going to close the door on running. What will make you decide to go for it?
Well, look, I'm too much a respecter of fate in my life. I have no intention now. I've done nothing at all to put together any kind of operation to run. And as I said, as most of you guys know, no one ever doubts I mean what I say. The problem is I sometimes say all that I mean. And if I were offered the nomination by the Lord Almighty right now today, I would say no, because we're not ready. The family's not ready to do this. If in a year from now, if we're ready and no one has moved in that I think can do it, then I may very well do it. But I'm being as honest as I can.
You're in the moment. This is.
I would vote for you today.
Even Megan, I think would vote for you.
Okay. So, if you decide not to run, do you see anybody on the horizon who we should be looking at, or can you just do it? I'd run next to you, not run with you. Next to you.
I'm in. I'll be her vice president.
Who's on the ticket? I mean, who is on the ticket?
Look, what I remind people of is 18 months before Bill Clinton won, No one knew about Bill Clinton.
Okay.
18 months, with the exception of a single speech that Barack made, no one knew Barack.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really talented people, governors and senators in our party, and so we'll see. We'll see. Look, I'm not trying to be falsely humble. I think I'm qualified to be president. I think the things that are out there are in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Foreign policy, bringing people together. I think people are looking for something. Anyway,
Do you think a woman should run?
Well, I don't think a woman should not run.
Yeah.
I think there, and by the way, there are a number of qualified women out there. I campaigned like the devil for the new senator from California when she was running. She is first rate. Kamala Harris.
Can I ask you a question? And it's a question that I'm curious about. Why has there never been a blended ticket? Why haven't we ever been able to have a Republican and a Democrat run to take care of the country? Is this? Am I crazy?
No. I don't think you're crazy. The reason why it's not in the cards right now.
Oh well, not now.
No, or for a while is there. You know, there's reason why in the past why you become a Democrat or Republican, why what you believe. And so, for example, a blended ticket doesn't work if they don't both agree on the need for health care or for a tax cut that helps corporations. I mean, the flip side of it.
Yeah.
So that's the reason. But there's a number of people who are really totally qualified. And if you notice, that's what we tried to do, who we brought into our administration.
Yes.
You know, guys like Bill Cohen. Anyway, so.
Yeah, it's not practical, really.
I don't know.
It wouldn't work. They'd be fighting with each other. Joe Biden is sticking around, and we'll be right back.
Hey, everybody.
If you're a fabulous fan of The View, get this.
It's that time of year again, and I got you the perfect stocking stuffer.
Ooh, and you're gonna need one giant stocking, cuz we're giving away awesome gifts and epic trips. Stuff so good, it'll leave you singing, "All I Want for Christmas is You."
Good one. Happy holidays from The View.
So visit us on Facebook, like our page, and find out how to enter.
We are back with Vice President Joe Biden. So, you and the President Obama, are known to have a bromance, right? You're extremely good friends. How often do you talk? Do you see each other a lot? We want to see more.
Well, actually, we do see each other. We keep in touch with one another, and all those memes are basically true.
Is he in your phone as like Prez or like
Barry?
Do you have like a nickname?
I'm not going there. I'm not going there. I just want to make it clear. He did the first friendship bracelet. Only kidding.
So if you decide not to run for president, which I do just want to editorialize, you do have a gift that not many politicians do. You're likable to Republicans. And trust me, I know a lot of Republicans, so you should definitely consider it. But if you don't end up running for president, what do you want to do with the rest of your life?
I want to stay involved. That's why I have a foundation at the University of Pennsylvania on foreign policy. They renamed the School of Foreign Policy after me. The very people who, had I run, I would be running the State Department, are with me there, and Tony Blink, a number of really first-rate people. University of Delaware set up the Biden Foundation there that relates to all domestic policy. They gave me $2.5 million worth of staff to come there, and I'm keeping the cancer effort going. So, you know, Bo's promised me, Dad. The promise was, Dad, promise me you will stay engaged. His comment to me at dinner was, Dad, I know no one loves me more than you, but I'm going to be all right no matter what happens, Dad. Promise me you will. And what he meant by that was, and I knew, he wanted me to stay engaged in the things that have animated my life, my whole life. And
we need you to stay engaged.
Well, you know, I think, and we need you guys to keep it going. For real. Look, we're better positioned than any country in the world to own the 21st century.
Yes, we are.
To own the 21st century. And we lead by not the example of our power, but the power of our example. That's who we are. Anyway, I just am optimistic about the future. And I think there's a lot you have to hope for.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for
Now, our thanks to Vice President Joe Biden. Guess what? Members of our audience are all going home with a copy of his fantastic book.
Tomorrow, Star Wars The Last Jedi and Game of Thrones star Gwendolyn Christie. Plus, red hot designer to the stars Christian Siriano unveils his dresses to dream about for your holiday wish list.
It's time for another All I Want for Christmas is View. We gave you one vacation earlier in the show, and we're adding to your travel plans right now. Whether you're traveling for the holidays or dreaming of vacations in the new year, Expedia helps you go places, and they are thrilled to share the gift of travel with the View's studio audience today. Thanks to Expedia, members of the audience are getting $250 in coupons to book your vacation.
This family, so this family, we have a relationship with.
The Burkheads.
This is the Burkheads.
It's Mama Gloria.
And we helped them get a house.
Oh, yeah.
That was made for Tim to move to. So they're thrilled to be here. Yeah. And we're thrilled that you came to us and talked to us about the book. We're thrilled that y'all are watching. We're thrilled that